Good night, everyone. I'm your host, Caron Gordon, Lady C, for the purposes of our show tonight. And we're here with Helping Hands Jamaica TV. Helping Hands JA TV. This is our first episode tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking a little about poverty. There are some words on my mind that we're going to be exploring a little. Poverty. We're going to be talking about determination. I'm going to be talking about time and the importance of time. I'm going to be talking mainly about the percolator, and I'm going to be sharing my story of the percolator. And tonight we have some percolators to give away, so we will definitely have some lucky winners tonight, as well as some credit. Okay, that's phone credit. We're going to talk about the whole process, life. It's a journey, it's a process, and we're going to talk a little about hopelessness. So enjoy the show. And for our giveaways, I'm going to be throwing out some questions, and I'm asking persons in order to win, you will need to like the video, make sure to subscribe, share the video with your friends, and of course, the comment that has the most likes will win the percolators. So I will be throwing out the questions a little from this. However, I'm going to talk about the percolator a little bit, but let me tell you before I go into that a little about Helping Hands Ministry. Helping Hands Ministry started in 2018. And basically, what we did and have been doing since then is sharing our love with families who are in need. So twice per month, we have a distribution of grocery items to 100 family. We do it 200 families per month, but each fortnight we distribute to 100 family. We pack 100 grocery bags, and that's how we share our love with the different communities that we've been serving since 2018. Of course, the ministry has taken on different forms and other projects. We do distribute sanitary napkins to teenage girls in primary schools and high schools in the corporate area. So that's a little about Helping Hands, and most recently, we started the pop-up food bank where we will be just popping up in different communities and distributing grocery bags. We will pop up unannounced, so we will not make an announcement to the community. No one will know where we're going next, but we will show up there with our team of volunteers to distribute grocery items to persons in the community. Last month we shared with Majestic Gardens, otherwise called Bacto. So we were there. We had a wonderful time. We were joined by Gospel JA, and we shared love with 100 families. 100 grocery bags were distributed in Bacto community, and we have a wonderful, wonderful team of very committed volunteers. And most of all, we have Kadeen Barrett, who works on the ground there in the communities, organizing the distributions, organizing purchases, organizing the packaging of the grocery items and the grocery bags. And she does a marvelous, marvelous job at it. And as we progress, you will get the chance to learn more about our team. Okay, so here we have it tonight, our first episode of Helping Hands TV. So we're going to be talking tonight about the percolator. Now that's my story. You can share your story in the comment section. So you can leave your comments, your stories there if you would like to share with or encourage someone who might be listening, or encourage a family who is feeling brokenhearted or despondent or discouraged because of what is happening or not happening for them in life right now. So this is my story, true to form, my family story. I don't know if any of them are online yet. I know they will be joining, but if they are, they could leave a message in the comment to say what they remember about this point in time in our lives. And I'm just being very transparent and kind of sharing these stories to help somebody to hold on a little while longer. I know sometimes life is difficult. I know sometimes it's hard. I know sometimes people get discouraged and think that life will never ever change, or this is the way it's going to be with me forever. But I want to encourage you also to be determined and never to give up, because you never know. Each and every one of us in life has a process that we have to go through, and we have to endure the process. And not that it's ever easy, or it was never promised that it would be easy. But one thing for sure, if you endure, if you hold out to the end, then you will receive the promise. So here goes my little story of the percolator. And for the purpose of this show, I bought this percolator. I've not had one for many, many years. But I remember growing up as a child, we had a percolator at home, right? I was asking my dad to give me some reminders of what happened back then. And he said he bought this when I was a baby, right? He had one when I was a baby. And they would use it. Of course, it's a coffee percolator. It's used to make coffee or tea for your family. It's kind of like, just the uh, electric kettle or one of those little coffee pots. So back then, I remember as a child, we were pretty comfortable in the early stages of our life. Pretty comfortable. My dad, even though he never went to school, I think he stopped school when he was 10 years old. So he never got a formal education. And he had a skill, a very good skill, that made him good money. After he surrendered his life to the Lord, he lost his job. And after losing his job, it was very, very difficult, extremely difficult to pick up another job. Why? Because, of course, without a formal education, you can imagine what the resume looks like, saying that you dropped out of school or you stopped going to school when you were 10 years old. Because, of course, his mother was very sick when he was very young. So he did not get a formal education. So when he lost his job and he was a tradesman, he did welding. And he was very, very, very good at his job as a welder, made a lot of money. But then hard times hit the company and he lost his job. When he lost his job, then we started hitting upon really, really difficult times. It's even hard to explain in one episode how difficult a time it was. It was so difficult at one point that so we used the gas cylinder for the stove, and the gas was finished, and we could not purchase another cylinder of gas. And it is like what? It was $14 at the time for a full cylinder of gas, and we could not purchase it for a little over a year. So we were home without the cooking gas. And of course, those times it was also very, very difficult to find groceries. And what daddy did, because we did not have a stove and we were not allowed to use a coal pot in the scheme that we were living, because we were living in an apartment scheme at the time. So we had a percolator that he had for about 4 or 5 years, and he sawed off the top of the percolator and made it so that you could sit the pot on it. And he plugged the tea in. And let me tell you, this pot would not boil like you see a regular pot boil on the stove. So you had to have a lot of time to wait until the meal was cooked. And I remember watching my mother cook on this for months at that time in our lives. Daddy sawed off the top and she just plugged in the bottom, put the pot on it, and she would cook the dinner or the breakfast on this spot. I can't tell you how difficult those days were, because I remember as a child back then, many times I would see my mom go in the room to pray, and pray that God would send food. And sometimes before she got off her knees, there was someone knocking on the door with food for the family. Difficult, difficult days. Why am I sharing this story with you? I am sharing this story so that someone can understand that life can turn for you for the better. It doesn't matter how daunting it might seem for you now. It doesn't matter how difficult it may be for you now. And sometimes the difficulty is very hard to process. And when you are going through your season, and everyone's life has a season, and sometimes you are going through your seasons, and people around you do not even understand your season. And they would want you to give an answer for your season, and you don't even have an answer. I have seen persons been without job, and they have a good resume, and it doesn't matter where they apply, they just could not get a job until that season for them had ended, until the lesson that they needed to learn in that time of life had been accomplished. So I want to say to you, you might never have had to cut off the top of a percolator to be able to use that as your stove for dinner, lunch, or breakfast. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what your season is. It might be a season of sickness. But for the purpose of this episode, I'm talking about persons who struggle financially. I'm talking about poverty, the lack of basic resources, the lack of bath soap, the lack of washing soap, the lack of sanitary napkins, the lack of food in your home, the lack of the ability to pay your rent or to live on your own, the lack of the ability to keep your lights on, my God, to keep the water on, the lack of the ability to take care of your children. Whatever lack it is that you might be suffering in your life tonight, I just want you to be encouraged and know that things will indeed turn for you. It's a matter of time. There are some people who have managed to get so discouraged, so despondent, that in seasons like these, they would think the only solution would be to end their lives. I want to speak to that person today. If you end your life, you will not live to see all the possibilities that lie ahead. You will not live to see the greatness that God had invested in you. So I want to say, hold on a little while longer. You might not be cooking on a percolator, on the bottom of a percolator, but you might be cooking on the coal stove out in your backyard. And you're thinking, all my other family members, they have nice electric stoves or they have stoves. You might have to be living with somebody. In Jamaica, we say catching. You might have to be catching with somebody because you cannot afford to live on your own or pay rent. And you look, and comparison steals joy out of life. And we tend to compare ourselves with others, with the people you went to school with the other members of your family, with the other persons in your church, with other persons on your job. But do not compare yourself. Rather, seek to understand your process and the lesson that you have to learn. For me, I think that those experiences in life, which I will share from episode to episode, they shaped me. They've made me the woman I am today. They've made me the person I am today. And it is why I am very deeply touched when I see people impoverished. I'm very deeply touched when I see people suffer lack. I'm very deeply touched when I see people are hurting. I'm touched by the senior who has no food to eat. I'm touched by the young girl who has no sanitary napkins to wear. I am touched by the young boy who feels the burden of his family that he needs to provide because he watches mommy cries because there is no food in the house. My experiences in life has shaped me into the woman I am. And that's the reason behind the Helping Hands ministry. Okay, so I'm not able to see who is or who is not online, but I'm going to be throwing out the questions now so I can indeed give away the percolator. Okay, So, number one, if you were the prime minister, what would you do to end poverty? If you were the prime minister and it's in your power to do, what would you do to end poverty? Now, listen what you have to do to win yourself a percolator. One, and yes, I have some on their way to Jamaica as of today. So definitely, if you are the winner, Cadian will be able to give you your percolator in another 2 weeks, I should think. All right. So if you were the prime minister, what would you do to stop poverty? And this is what you have to do in order to win yourself a percolator. You need to like this video. You need to share this video with someone who might need the encouragement. And you also need to have the most likes on your comment. So drop a comment there right now, and maybe it's your story, but whatever. Drop a comment right now below this video, and the comment with the most likes will receive the percolator, and that's for question number one. So if you were the prime minister, what would you do to stop poverty? If you're not living in Jamaica and you're in the United States of America, if you were the president, what would you do to stop poverty? Question number two, if you were the minister of security, what would you do to reduce the crime rate? If you were the Minister of Security, what would you do to reduce the crime rate? Okay, again, you have to like this video, share this video with your friends and families, and especially someone who you know needs the encouragement. And you're going to leave that comment in the comment section telling us what would you do to reduce crime in your country. And the comment that has the most likes will receive the second percolator. That means what you have to do is ask your friends and family to come here under this video and like the comments. And last but not least, for the third percolator giveaway, if you were the president of the Helping Hands Ministry, what kind of program would you implement for senior citizens in your country? If you were the president of the Helping Hands Ministry, what programs would you implement to help senior citizens in your country? All right, so I need you to do like the other two. You're going to like this video, you're going to share it with someone who needs the encouragement, and you're also going to, if you have the most likes for your response to that question, then you will emerge the winner of the third percolator that we're giving away tonight. So I think I have completed my 15 minutes. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please encourage your friends to subscribe to the channel so whenever I am on live, you will be notified. Also remember, you can volunteer with the ministry by calling Kadeen Barrett at 876-433-2526. That's 876-433-2526. If you would like to donate to the ministry, you can do so at Cash App at SincerelyCLG, and that's Cash App at SincerelyCLG, or PayPal at clgtried@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen if you would like to donate. As well as if you are donating and you're in Jamaica, you can feel free to call Kadeen Barrett at 876-433-2526. And until next time, this is your host, Lady C, with the Helping Hands JATV. And thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful night. We will make the announcement of the winners on our next episode.